Hi. Okay, this is the Love of Leaves, and this is one of the tri-panel window cards. I love to do these. I've been doing them for a couple years now, and when I first saw this set, I knew that it was one that was crying out to have it done. So for it, what you need is I have a half a sheet of vanilla. So if those of you that have the kit, you have a half a sheet of vanilla, and then yours is going to look a bit different than this, and I'll show you when we get to the point that it looks like what you have, but I want to show you so you can make them in the future, and for those of you that are just watching the videos, how you get it to the point that you have in the kit. So you have this half a sheet of vanilla, and that's for all of your stamping. So this is a 12 by 5.5 sheet of cardstock, and then you need to score it at 4 inches on both sides. So we're going to do my kind of scoring, which is I just put it in here at 4 inches. So put it at 4 and then score. So all of this has been done for those of you that have it, the kit. It's been scored and die cut. So I already did this for you in case you didn't have any die cuts to do the window. So I did that. So it would be 4 and 8 if you want to open your arm, but I never open my arm here. I hardly ever open my arm. I like little numbers. And then you do a Z fold. So a Z fold is one way here and then one way back. And the way that you know that you've done a Z fold is when you open it up, you see the letter Z. So see the Z, and then you know it's a Z fold. Then this part I did not do for you. So you want to just make sure that your folds are nice and flat. So just take a bone folder or something and just get those nice and pressed. It just makes your cards stay together better. So you'll need to do that. And then I used the Celebration label dies because I wanted something that still gave us quite a lot of stamping space. But you can use any of the stitched labels, the rectangles, the scallops, the Halloween. There's just a ton of options. So put it in here all the way done. You want to make sure that the front is the front of your Z. Just lay it in there. And then I don't like it to go through speed bump. So just kind of lay it catty corner. If you saw my winter one that I did, you know, it was kind of crooked, but it doesn't matter because there's a lot going on this card as well. So even if it gets a little crooked, it doesn't matter. So here is where, that's what yours looks like if you have the kit. So this is what you need for those of you that have the kit. You have the half sheet of cardstock, and then you have this. And I didn't do anything other than that. So now you're going to need to take yours and pop out. The back doesn't cut through, it just leaves a nice impression. But these two right here, you'll have to pop those out because I didn't do that for you. So you're gonna use one of them, and then the other one, this is when you always see my videos that are like what to do with things laying on your desk. This is gonna be laying on my desk, and now I have 2 of them. So now you're also gonna need some scrap paper. I just moved mine. And I just knocked some dies off. So I like to use the little grid papers. You can get these in the back of the catalog. They're designed for the Stamparatus, but I think they work great for when you do these window cards too, because they're just the right size to stick inside. So you can just kind of slide them in there. So what I did was I stamped my card and I stamped all of my leaves at the same time. So we want to start with the biggest leaf. And then I just pulled, I'll tell you what colors I pulled, but you can decide. Are the fall leaves, I was torn because I think really the fall leaves that are my favorite colors are the oranges and the yellows. So I almost did that. But I really wanted to use the ribbon, this ribbon, because I think it's beautiful. It's the Rococo Rose. So you have this, and so I based my colors off the rose. So you can switch ribbons in what's in your kit, if you have the kit, if you want to go with different colors, because you can do all the fall colors. You can switch it and you can be a summer card if you want. But I have the Merlot, the Rose, Coral, Blackberry, and Cinnamon. Any shades Start with the rose if you want to use this ribbon, and just work with all colors that match. You need 5 because we have 5 leaves, and we're going to put them all on here. But you can do, you can mix some greens in, you can mix the olive, you can put some pumpkin pie, you can put any retired colors that we have. You can put some mango. Just go for whatever 5 colors you want that look beautiful together. There's no right or wrong. So I'm going to you start with your biggest and then work down. So we're going to go with this one, and we're going to do, and I've already touched the pad because let's go with the darkest ink and touch the pad. So you need 2 of every leaf over here. So stamp 2 on this vanilla piece. And then on this over here, you're just going to start filling it up. So that's why you have some scraps, so you can just kind of stamp. And remember, you got 5 leaves that you got to put, and it doesn't matter when you do that. Theoretically, you shouldn't do that, but I was talking. But you have lots of space, and then we're also going to be putting our die cut leaves over the top. And these leaves do have the holes in them, like that is part of the stamp. But we're going to stamp over, we're going to stamp more images. And then this piece, we're going to stamp, let me show you, try to get some so it goes over, because we're going to put that one label that we're saving over the top. So I'm just kind of getting some everywhere. Oh, that's why it's doing it, it's because that's under there. So every time I stamp, I'm stamping on top of something. Don't do that. So now we've got this side. So now flip it over and make sure that you're getting a little bit on everything. This is a really easy one if you haven't done this, because sometimes when I do these cards, like every panel is different. All these panels are the same because you're just putting leaves on it. So now I'm going to go to the rose, and it doesn't even matter where I start because you're just going to do the same thing. Except now on some of them you can overlap. And on some of these you want to make sure that sometimes you get the stems, that all your leaves kind of go different directions. You can see why it's important that you have this scrap piece of paper here, because it gives you the chance then to do. And always on this one, make sure that you get something that's kind of going over into that. And here's our front panel here. And you make sure you get a couple of them on the front, because that's our rose where we're going to have the ribbon. So that will match. And if you don't have the Rococo rose, then any of the pinks really will match it. The Blushing Bride is a really close, just lighter color of it. So put 2 on here. And now we're going to go to Calypso. This is where you could do pumpkin pie. You could do some mango. Mine has a definite pink theme to it. In fact, the last flower originally was cherry. I could show it to you. And it was just, I was like, this is too pink. And that was when I switched it to the cinnamon. And it could almost be espresso. And if you were making more of these than one, I would get them all out so you could do each color as you go. Here's the blackberry. And again, the blackberry could be, I like the blackberry, but you could do one of the other purples, but the blackberry adds a nice depth to it. See, it's got something that's kind of grounding it. Let me go there where I kind of smudged that when I was stamping on the top of something else. And there as well. And here. It's a nice color to cover up where I messed up. can see that why you work from largest to smallest. Because as you work down, you start to fill in those tinier spots. And then we've got cinnamon. And again, you could do crumb cake, you could do Sahara sand, you could do gray granite. Or if you've gone for totally other colors, you can do any other color. And with these, if you feel like at the end you need a couple of more leaves for anywhere. And then I'm gonna take this panel, and while I've got stamped off, I'm just gonna stamp, because you can see I stamped something else. I'm barely gonna stamp it on there. So I just have a really light cinnamon. And do that with your smallest, whatever color it was. Just do the smallest with it. And this one's nice to just kind of go back and fill in. Or if you feel like you want some more, my helper's coming. Oh, she changed her mind. And don't worry if you think, oh, I'm missing a color, because when we go and stick all these ones that we're getting ready to die cut, you can kind of fill that in. So there we go. It's all of that stamping. And then pick whichever words you want. Again, you can use some from the set, or if you want to do a happy birthday or a retirement or any other saying that doesn't come in it, you're going to take this panel that you saved. I have the one that says your friendship is something I know I can count on from the set. You go right over the top of that little leaf that you stamped. And that gives it a really nice little focal point. Now I'm going to run these through. And I'm gonna fast forward the part of this video because y'all know how to run these through. And I'll join you back once I've run them through. Okay, so I'm back and I have all those cut out. You can do it in 2 passes, which is nice. So just line them all up on there. You just want to make sure that you have your plates all the way to the edge, because if you don't, then you might not get the edges of all of these. But half a sheet of piece of paper does fit on the plate. I have them all. Oh, there's a purple one. So then just lay them all here. And now the fun part starts, because now you get to kind of put it together. And I find if you have something, whether or not you put them back in the stamp case or a little Tupperware or a little tray like this, because these do have that stitching and they stick to the paper, and you don't want to accidentally throw one in the trash. So just make sure that you've pulled them all off. And I do it now because I know it's the fun part's coming and you're like, I want to glue them on. But then sometimes you get called away and you don't want to throw them away later. So just pull them off, because trust me, I've talked to enough people that have accidentally lost them. So now you're going to start first with the back. So just add a couple of pieces back here. Stick your little thing in that you made. And now you can see why you wanted to go over and stamp into your panel, because now all of those are going underneath and it gives a really fun illusion. And I meant to cut my ribbon the size that you all got, because you have longer than what you need, but you don't really want this ribbon. It's kind of got a country feel to it, and you don't want it to, it doesn't make like a floofy bow or anything. So you just want literally a bow. Although I think yours is longer than that. This is why I should cut your ribbons, my ribbon, when I cut yours. So I have the same thing that you're starting with. So I do find that this ribbon works better if you tie a knot. And this is in the annual catalog. And it comes in all the in colors. So if you like this card and you want to do it in the greens, there's the in color green. So just kind of tie it here and then tie a bow. But mine is not long enough because you have a much longer piece than I gave myself. 2 for 2 on the cards I've done so far like this. I might be able to make it work. This is why you always give yourself way more ribbon than when you think you need. Well, mine's going to be a knot. So if you find that ribbons aren't your thing, do a knot. And actually, we can go this way. So if you do this, we're just going to add it, flip it, and then I'm gonna grab my Seal Plus. And we're just gonna tape it on here. So if you can't tie a bow, do this. And you have plenty of ribbon. You can probably get a ripple on yours. There we go, and if we need, there. That works. So now what you want to do is you're going to start from the inside. So start with your biggest leaves. So take these two, and then like you can see one here, and you can see how that didn't stamp well. It doesn't matter because a lot of this is going to get cut up, but you don't want to cover up your words. So let's go. And it also needs to be inside the card. So here, so put your adhesive on your card itself, because if you put it on the leaf, chances are you're going to glue your cards shut. And then like that. And don't put very much adhesive in here because you can see it'd be easy to miss the petals of your leaf. So just put a tiny little bit. So now we've got that. And I only used one of my big leaves. You might be able to use two. I only used one on the first one. And then let's go with big leaf number 2. And I only used one of it as well. But go ahead and cut them out because you're going to do 2 passes anyways. And if you don't use it, you still have. Let's put this one on the front. And you can kind of just mess around with them and see where you like them. But that one looks good there. And then I'll lay that one aside. Let's do this one in here. This one can go on here because it's a little one and we'll be able to control where we have it going. So now we've got that. And you can see that it's giving you a window. We can do another one. Let's do the same one. And we can put it there. And this time I'm going to put it just a tiny bit of seal right here. You can go back once they're kind of in if you feel like any of them need a tiny bit more adhesive. And the really nice thing about these is when you see the other side, they're still pretty because these leaves are so pretty on the other side. So now let's do the ones that have cut the best and stamped the best, use those on the front. So let's stick one of these here. And then let's do one of these over the top of our ribbon. So it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna know that was meant to be a bow. And I like to have things going off into, the main thing is you don't ever wanna cover up your words because you wanna have that be framing your design. And always use as little as adhesive as possible until you're finished. And this one right here, I'm going to stick under because I'm kind of running out of space, but I want that a little more pop of purple. It might be out. This is, oh no, this is my never-ending seal. I've been thinking I'm running out for video upon video upon video, and it still keeps going. So you can see this one. I don't know, I think it's holding. So we have this. So now this needs to kind of go because that was a little long. And then I have these 2. So now the things I have laying on my table are growing because now I have 4 of these and 2 little things because I have all of these offcuts from all of my cards and all of those that are going. And then you have 3 champagne rhinestones and 2 gold gems because we want odd numbers. And this is a big card, so you can have room to put 5 things. So I put 2 on the back. So I have one of the gold gems and one of the champagne rhinestones back in here. Again, where you can see it from the front, but then you'll also be able to see them and leave room, you know, where you can sign your name. And this is nice that this leaves kind of covering up where you'll be able to sign your name. And then one of the gold ones on the front and two of the champagnes. And just kind of space them. And I chose these colors because not only do they look good with the color selections that I have, but if you went with greens or yellows or oranges, whatever colors you have, they're gonna look good with those too. So see, every place is covered. It doesn't matter if you stamped poorly anywhere, like right here, because there's so much going on that nobody's ever gonna notice. Here's my other one. And they look, except for the fact that I kind of actually like this. It looks a little fallish. Looks kind of like a fall wreath. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that project. And again, it's just 5.5 by 12 and then scored at 4 and 8 or 4 and then flipped over and 4 again. And then just run that through. So the more ornate that your die is, because you don't ever want to do it twice through because then you'll cut the back out. You just want to run it once through. So the less ornate this die is, the better. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer. Bye.